Pride necklace. How's it going? It's Man Tomorrow here at home in Denver, Colorado. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out here, show you the best shot I can of the mountains of where I'm at. I'm off I-70 and Colorado Boulevard, getting all loaded up to go back to the East Coast. What's going on, Isaac? I got an email from somebody, and what's going on, Justin March? And I want you to understand what's going on here, because a lot of people don't understand. For some reason, they do not understand. Hold on a second. It's getting loud. What's going on, Rocky Ann? What's going on, Candace Lupus? All right. Because I'm going to go over this. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it Saturday because I got to rush to get somewhere. But it's definitely probably going to be Sunday night. Because I need to show you how this stuff actually works. Because right now, as you can see, well, you really can't see. I wonder if you can zoom in on StreamYard. No, you can't. But nice shot of the mountains out there. Have a couple minutes for people to come in. What's going on, Judge Zilla the Beast? Hey, man, I gotta get you in on this 101. You're gonna be the one after Ike Sunday, so next Sunday is gonna be your turn. So that way we can put this stuff to bed. So that way you can see it coming a mile away. You can see it coming a mile away. Uh, 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 uh. All right, let's get started. Make sure you like the video. Can y'all hear me pretty good? Because I still got this mask on while walking. I'm not even sure what the latency is. What's going on, Zero? So that way you can be able to see both sides of the issue. You see what happens when people start flagging your video right away, the actual people just start to trickle in rather than everybody get the notification and stuff. Because women are not out there doing that. Men are. But that's okay though. I'd rather tell you the truth up front. And yes, I intend to weaponize intellect the same way these people have weaponized ignorance. And I don't have a problem with it. So let's get to it. All right, so we're going to talk about the cleanup after the cleanup community. You know, the pearl necklace cleanup community. You have to realize that if you haven't read any of American history, you don't keep up with things politically within the environment, you intent on reading all these dumbass books about things that are actually going on within the environment, you keep thinking that you can dick down feminism through game. You keep thinking that associating yourself with street culture would get you a higher Daggle score than anybody else. You actually think that associating yourself with the people who've actually papered over black culture, because none of the street culture is being celebrated in Black History Month. The actual excellence of Black history is being celebrated in Black History Month. These people have their own Black History Month. Kind of happens between the 101 days of summer, between Memorial Day weekend and like the end of August. That's where we're at with this. So you have to recognize that there are few people who's going to get this. Let me start with the woman. Now, the female is not trying to let her homegirls off the hook with what they actually produce within the environment. Because women only weaponize their voices to try to get severely neglected men to go clean up after other women. The women cannot be community minded. The women can only maintain a community that's already there, no matter what it looked like before. This is how other cultures work. So when a woman's talking about she's community minded, especially within Black YouTube, you got a bunch of old hoes hanging around a bunch of whack motherfuckers within the space of YouTube. Their mouth. Because they mismanaged the cooch clock just like everybody else did. Because if everybody is at the same level of dysfunction within the environment, then they no doubt abuse the same system to get there within the environment. So you have to understand that just like submission, just like agreeableness, being community minded also has an expiration date. Because the time for a woman to be community minded is when the actual culture of being community minded is handed down to her by her parental guardians. And I'm going to say that with the S. So a woman is never going to maintain or make a community better than it already is. She's going to maintain power for her gender that's already within the environment. Because that's what women do. It's not a big deal. It's just that you have to understand how this stuff works. So when you see all these older women who never even taught the younger women how to be women try to be community minded on the behalf of other women, they're actually just trying to get you to send you off on a dummy mission to actually clean up after her homegirl's mess so that way they all don't look bad. Because, like I said before last week, they don't go up to Oprah, Gayle King, you name it, singers, actresses, athletes. They don't go up to the women and try to make them community minded. They don't try to fill their other homegirls with cultural guilt to clean up after things that are not their responsibility. But they do it to actual men. Because, to keep it real, these men are not hiding. They're right here, right in front of our faces. You can't have a conversation without some dumbass dude talking about his child support issues or some random child support shit that happens. No matter whenever it comes to simply discussing politics or anything else within the environment, it always has to circle back round to women. The dudes who claim they get so much ass can't never stop talking about women for some reason. And you have to realize this stuff isn't secret. This stuff is in the wide open. So if you confine yourself to a bad product that you already know the outcome of or the history of, there's really nothing else that can be said to you within the environment. What's going on with the glorious one? What's going on, Lil Rock? I'm just saying this. You have to be conscious of the actual environment where things are actually created. So that way you don't end up cleaning up after something that you don't want to clean up after. Because they want to try to socialize you into not having any options, even though they've had plenty. This is what happens within the environment. This is why, in order to keep their gains within the environment, immediately once they get challenged, they go pointing off to some random, faceless woman who's actually chosen them within the environment. There ain't nobody within the black YouTube space who's been chosen up on by somebody who somebody want to actually deal with after that fact. But this is where we are. And male choice, actual male choice, to not deal with these actual things, to come productive within the environment, and actually leaving this stuff alone, it's your only cultural responsibility at this point. You got people in their 50s and even into their 60s hanging around people that they're never going to get anything out of while they're trying to socialize you into cleaning up after other people. Now, that's the woman side of the argument. So let me give you the male side of the argument. They can't wait to tell you that things are never going to change or this stuff is spreading everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay. Have it spread to the Amish community? They haven't moved anywhere. Oh, okay. Have they spread it through the Nation of Islam? Here within the local black context? No. Because, see, these dudes are hiding in plain sight. They're hiding in plain sight here. And I don't know why a dude would even want to do this, but this is on you. However, you truly have to get that there's a lot of frauds within this environment. A lot of them. Most everybody's career field is based on the actual status of the community as it stands presently. So what you have to understand is when somebody call you bitch made, that's what it is, because this is her environment. That's hers. Women are born with all the genetics up front. Men have to work through their productivity to outpace a woman's genetics. That's the way it works. Unless you're one of these bitch made dudes and they just start producing once they get a piece. So you have to realize that once you start weaponizing genetics, you throw genetics out the window. Because you're no longer working on our behalf, you're working on her behalf. And it doesn't matter what your age is within the environment, you know right from wrong. And you also have to look cross-culturally because you don't see these type of men anywhere else but in an environment where women actually run shit. That's the problem here. So when the dude is telling me how much he's helping this person maintain the actual environment, and because he's getting some ass out of the deal, that somehow I'm supposed to be okay with that. Like, no. Why would I be okay with somebody destroying my gender to the point to where they're actually listening to mumble rap and wearing skinny jeans? You see, actual men would have a problem with that, with the trajectory of that. But bitch made dudes, they don't care. They're not even invested. They're just as much as invested in this damn shit as the woman is. This is why it's easy to leave this stuff alone. And if you want to pull that whole card pretty quick and upfront, the only thing you got to do is explain to me your ideal society as the things work right now. Boom, big joker. Have them explain their outcomes and how they're going to be able to get there using these type of outcomes. Because if it ain't explainable, it ain't attainable. There is no way in the world you can just walk around running your mouth about something you claim you like if you haven't really thought out and be able to exquisitely explain how is this stuff going to work out. Then you have to, once you have it worked out, you have to compare it to actual working environments within the actual American society and culture. Because how can you be community minded if you don't know what a community looks like? How can you be community minded if your community is not going to compete against other people? How can you be community minded without holding people responsible? How can you be community minded if there are no minimum standards? How can you be community minded when productivity don't run a male culture? How can you be community minded if your community is based on social silence, the wrong kind? How can you be community minded? As you notice, nobody comes to me with this bullshit about what their community minded is. I just call them a bitch ass nigga and keep it fucking moving. And I blame this mainly on the boomer generation. When the original pro blacks who had some good plans decided to team up with criminals of the community because they didn't lay down minimum standards. What's going on, Hope? Because if you don't lay down minimum standards, you're going to eventually be overran by everything that you should have left out in the first place. That's how communities work. Could you imagine going to school with no report card? That's what it's like claiming to be community minded within the black context. Going to school, nobody cares about outcomes. And this is why people have all this information on hand, except for what they actually do within the environment. Because it's either you're going to be waiting for this answer forever, or you're going to be producing this answer on some sort of time schedule. This is why no one ever talks about time, because time is irrelevant in the community minded frame. Because when you got 50-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and 20-year-olds still talking about chasing women or the outcome of this woman that they claim that they don't want, but really lock themselves into messing with in the first place. So if you have 4 decades of men stuck on the same specific point, then how's this stuff supposed to work? I was listening to Aluminum Amateur stream, and there was a woman who had to tell black men that they're not alpha because you get a piece of ass. And nearly every man on that panel did not agree. How is it that she know more about what men are supposed to do than the actual men in the goddamn space? How is that possible? So this is why you have a community full of saboteurs. Most of these people in this generation knows what the other people have done within those generations to move forward within the society and life. They know that. This is why I say this. It doesn't matter. How can you compete with another culture if they could be on and off the market, creating a family, going to school when they're supposed to, and all this stuff? And then you need a dating coach to actually deal with the actual women that they destroyed. So that way they can pass it off to you. Oh yeah. And they're proud of it. Proud of it. These are the people you want to team with? I'm not gonna lie, it is entertaining to watch people go in high reverse. But this is what you got going on within the environment, man. Dude, you got 50-year-old dudes sitting around here letting a street dude misrepresent American history for everybody to see. Misrepresenting it. Oh boy, here we go. I just had a phone call. Let's see what happened. Can y'all still hear me? Hit a one in the chat if you can still hear me. Because sometimes I have to reconnect the actual microphone if I receive an incoming phone call. But this is where we currently are, folks. These dudes are here to oversee the destruction of the rest of black men within society. They are. And this is why I say it's very clear. Don't hire these dudes. Don't hire them. Get your power up and you lock them out. That's what you do. You get your power up and you lock them out. All you got to do is play some arc reactor. This motherfucker got a smile on his face, fire his ass on the spot. Get him out of there. Bitch ass nigga. He will do anything to please the hoe. But this is what we are, folks. You truly have to make sure that you win. Because there is not a lot of time that need to be wasted on community minded people. Because community minded people are here to waste your time overall. Because if they're not out here being productive like they're supposed to during their years and right now, it's a time where you can be productive even after you messed your life up. You can. Right now is the time that you can. You may not gonna like the work, but the actual option is out there for you. What's going on, Pablo Festival? So this is why I'm saying community-minded people are your enemy. They always have been. They always will be. People who are talking about child support bullshit is your fucking enemy. No exception. Because they want the level of protection that the women get within the environment. They want to actually be protected from the consequences that they feed themselves into freely within the environment. That's what they want. But how can you be community minded when you don't want to get rid of all the issues that caused the community to be destroyed in the first place? How can that be? How can that be? So you mean to tell me that you're going to fix the community and you're going to leave all these problems in place? Really? That's almost like scrambling eggs and trying to put it on a freshly baked cake. That stuff ain't going to work, man. Now I understand this individual sent this email and I was like, oh man, so why aren't you community? I am community minded. The only community I have to worry about is my household. and my productivity, because that's how you take care of a household. So if you're worrying about the community outside of taking care of your own life, then you're clearly doing it wrong. Hold on a second. Let me change devices real quick because this phone's going off. Hold on a second. Can y'all hear me? All right, there we go. We should be back. I hope. Do y'all hear echo or no? All right, there we go. So we gotta start taking some of these pillars off the table for the enemies of our actual people, man. And one of these things is being community minded. Another one of these things is turning to women as your actual verification of masculinity. Another thing is not being politically literate within the environment. Another thing is not having a verifiable track record. Another thing is asking for code from everybody, but you can act however you want to within the environment. What's going on, D Raptor? Because cleaning up after community pearl necklaces isn't the way that this stuff's supposed to work. There's a cultural abuse that has went on within this environment, and I'm not gonna let that stuff slide. I'm not gonna let it slide to the point to where I'm just gonna freely watch another generation go into cleaning up after people who don't care about them. This is why Germany is locking up 95-year-old people. Because if you had anything to do with that era of the history, no matter what your job was, they locking your ass up forever. You have to erase these people off the map because they hide behind the same things all the time. They hide behind the same things. They hide behind broken women, broken children because they're broken men. You see, other communities, you don't have 50-year-olds trying to yuck it up with the actual destroyers of yesterday. You don't have that. Yeah, I am community minded. The only thing is, I think this community need to be a hell of a lot smaller. And your community need to be, what did you do in your own life within that household? You see, these things are not hard. These people are trying to hold on to the last portions of street culture that they possibly can. This stuff is circling the drain, man. Circling the drain. And you guys have to recognize that COVID-19 pulled a lot of people's whole cards. There's a lot of people sitting at the house. Not that that's a bad thing, but if you want to try to kick it into gear, trying to pick up these broken pieces of black culture after you get your stuff together, it's not the way to go. And you ever notice how these people are never around to debate their actual ideas and points? Because this Sunday, when I go over what black success look like, what black progress look like, because black progress looks no different than American progress. Nothing. You're gonna have to do the same thing that every other culture of people done. I'm not gonna lie to you. At home here in Denver, these Latinos run most of the unloading of trucks within this city. What's going on, Sigmund Jones? So let me tell you about the so-called immigration jobs that you claim you want. Most of the people inside the docks speak Spanish. The security guards and all the customer service people also speak Spanish, so they got those jobs. Then you have Spanish people who actually own the actual brokering companies that send the loads to the actual places. This place right here is Safeway. Then you have Latinos who run the actual lumper services, which is they right to run. So and security guards and etc. So I'm gonna talk about them. I'm gonna talk about the LGBT next. What's going on, Doc Phoenix? So all these people have taken up arms around most of the jobs where you don't need any skills at within the environment. Yes, you have Latino who were pipe fitters and especially a lot of attorneys, lot of new and all that stuff within the environment. And that's how they moved forward. They decided that they was going to take part within the actual culture, and then they split up on both sides of the political divide. This is why you ain't got Latino women online talking about or talking down to their men. You don't have that, except for most of the Americanized one. It's not all the way, but that's what they did to move from where they were in 1998 when I first got here. This is where they're at now. They're doing all the road construction contracts. Most of the actual work that's done on military installations are done by them. Most of the state contracts, when it comes to electrical services, are here. They even work for the military industrial complex, Northrop Grumman and all that kind of stuff, because those people actually wanted to do something with their community. They have women that they can work with who was actually part of the plan in their community. Those women had still had access to screwing over their men for the most part within the community, but when you got strong family and cultural values, that stuff doesn't happen on the average like it's guaranteed to happen within black society. All the construction jobs. If you drive by any subdivision that's being developed right now, or even Amazon building that's being built right now, 100% Latinos out there. We could have did the same thing. They wanted to put that productive ahead of their community. Same thing when it comes to truck driving. You don't see that many Latinos working for the other companies. They're working for themselves because they all decided to be productive. They decided that they was going to come here, and this is why they're ahead of even most whites within the environment. Because if you're stagnant and somebody is slowly progressing and the kids that they have are turning into productive members of society, you're going to be able to be way ahead of everybody else in less than a generation. That's what happened. The LGBT, same thing. You go to certain areas of town, they run everything over there. Hell, it's hard to get a job within fast food or retail within this area if you're not even affiliated with them. They run all of that stuff. Again, 25 years ago, these people was nowhere near that type of power within the environment. But those people had a singular focus to take over a singular industry. And there is some bleed over. They're not just exclusively white. They have blacks over there, Latinos over there, immigrants over there, and the like. You see, in their communities, they're not worried about cleaning up after people who didn't make the proper choices within the society and environment. That's not how community minded thinking works. Yeah, same thing. They own most of Aurora right now, most of Southeast Aurora. And a lot of parts of Denver that don't nobody want to live at. Especially over here by Stapleton Airport, the old Stapleton Airport in Denver. Because they had a plan. Yeah. Imagine what it was 20 years ago. Most of them are Catholic, got the church, working through the church and all that stuff. Their community was not concentrated on cleaning up after people. There was nobody trying to push forward street culture. Yeah, they may listen to the music, but they definitely ain't trying to practice those outcomes. This is why you got to understand that a community has to be of equals. Oh, hell yeah. Hey, nobody parties like them dudes party. Trust me. Trust me. Right now, if you need a mobile mechanic, there's a Latino dude who will come all the way to your house and fix your shit. They'll come all the way to a truck stop and fix your truck. I routinely have them work on my shit. I could go to one of their shops right now and go be in and out of there in 2 hours with an oil change overnight. These people are getting their work on, man, because that's how a true community actually works. What's going on, Agon? So when you're letting people talk about being community minded and you don't know how a community operates, these dudes are playing you for a fool. But you got to realize that they're not going to let the circumstances that allowed them to get to where they are to be erased. What's going on, Lionel McDowell? And this is what I'm saying. These dudes are here to make sure every dude cleans up after most women within the environment. And they're already telling you that the women ain't gonna act right. And these dudes are throwing themselves into the fox's mouth. They got so much game that they can't go get them a feminine woman and get off the market. They got to be at work on the market the whole time while they're within society and life. Yep, routinely. I could call up one, get a good consult, they be in and out of there. Money paid. Because the community got to have a level of trust. Can you trust most of these older black men within the environment who can't even go out the game, dudes? Can you trust most of these women within the environment where they can't even counsel women to use birth control? A community is a hell of a lot more than cleaning up after people. You're supposed to clean up after children. You're not supposed to clean up after grown ass adults. And yes, I'm in my 40s and it's my time to leave. And the first order of business is kicking these old motherfuckers out of here. They gotta go. We don't need this shit. We got too much of this stuff around. And it's not helping. Because here's the thing. Most of these immigrants, when they come here, they don't even have all that much skill. They don't mind their kids being and the younger individuals being better than them. They don't mind that. But within this community, where everybody's competing for everything else within the same community, which don't make a community work. And whenever it comes down to having a level of discipline within the actual environment, they always want to compare themselves to animals who don't need to follow any type of direction within the environment. What's going on, David Bowman? What's going on, Black Torch? Lionel McTow, I agree with you. So we have to understand that there's a lot of people who want to destroy what we can actually build within this environment. Yeah, man. Yeah. And they actually don't work against each other to actually destroy the actual environment that they're in. Thanks for the $5 super chat number 016. But what you got to do is you got to ask these people about what's the end goal. What's the end goal? Let's say that all these men within the environment start cleaning up after the women. What the hell are they going to do to the men? Oh, yeah, man. Me too, J3. Me too. Thanks for the 499 super chat. But you guys have got to realize you got to be productive and you got to keep it away from the people who are dealing with the bread and circuses shit. Because the black manosphere have really devolved down to talking about or paying attention to this black woman, which ain't got shit to do with you getting yourself together. What's going on, Lawrence guy? But this is where we are within the environment, man. And we have the people who don't give a damn about the community walking around telling everybody that they community minded and shit. That's something that I don't like. That's crazy. All these people are digital twerkers online. That's all they doing. Twerking online. That's all they're doing, man. Because they don't want to see the environment change. You got to have a change of mind state in order for you to be able to think clearly. Because here's the thing, there's a difference between limiting your exposure instead of a tramp stamp that got a thick beard. They are sociopaths, man. So there's a difference between awareness and exposure. Awareness, you're aware of the things that are going on and you still don't have to engage in it. A lot of people who have this level of exposure within the environment somehow think that they're better because they have this exposure. Now, they can't tell you what they're actually doing with the actual exposure within the environment, per se, but they want to be celebrated because they help the actual counterpart destroy the environment. He sure did. He sure did. But you got to realize that community minded people are not worried about cleaning up after people who have not done the minimum level of productivity within the environment. That's not what community minded people are. The type of community minded people we have within the black context are saboteurs and destroyers. That's why they want the uncultured woman's voice to actually run the environment. That's why they want that. They really want that to happen. So that way they don't have to reach the level of productivity within the environment. Because of the women's opinion, the ones who want to keep this environment the way it is, run the environment, then they don't have to be productive. They could just be the male twerker and the actual masculine submissive part of the actual conversation. This is why it's vitally important that you head into a field. You do the things that you can to make it to the top of that field. And then you only work with like minded people. Because the trash DNA has clearly won this environment. But, but the only thing that the trash DNA people cannot do is they cannot produce. That's the great thing about them. Because if they can produce actual outcomes without the actual without the input of women or the environment, they would be way the hell ahead of where they are right now. Nah, shit, they talk about relationships. I ain't talking about that shit. You wouldn't have so many 30, 40, and 50-year-old women in the marketplace if they haven't abused the same system the same way. I don't care about their opinion. I agree, Zero. Them dudes already gave up, man. But this is what we are, folks. We got to make sure that we bury and move these people over to one side of the coin. You have to unite them on one side and lead their ass over there on one side. You can't divide and conquer something like this. You can only unite and conquer something like this. Because if the environment changes, then they lose their spot in position. That's the great thing about it. They need black failure in order to survive. They need this stuff. Yeah, man. Now you can't do anything about these vaginal T-shirt cannons within the actual environment, man. The only thing you can do is just make sure your productivity is not taking care of this creation within the environment. And until they start changing some things, I suggest y'all making sure that y'all living the best life that y'all possibly could. And I'm gonna keep telling you, man, there's nothing wrong with not having experience with this completely bad product out here, man. There's nothing wrong with having that type of experience. Going on seeking my creator. There's nothing wrong with not having that experience, which is the reason why I'm going to be restreaming all of my old content. I'm going to be downloading it and restreaming it. So for the people who came here later on who don't know what my previous 2 years of content was, I have not been talking about anything that different than what I'm talking about right now. Because you guys have got to see it. You got to see the simple fact that they need black failure to actually survive within the environment. They need for game to run the rest of black America into the ground. They need to see it. Yeah. Because a lot of these younger dudes, like your age, man, they run into these clowns within the manosphere on the regular. They never hear a dude like me. They never hear a dude like me ever. A dude who's way better than them in everything, except trying to dig down feminism. You know, they way better than me at that, and that's where we at. This is why most men within the environment can't move on. They can't move on to better things because they want their chance on something that they don't need access to. Actually, actually, it's worse than that. They want you to order food poisoning off the menu, like the actual name. Yes, sir. I would like the food poisoning. Like, yeah, this is what they want, man. I mean, but you got to understand, man, that a lot of people, death racer, like everybody is in the comfort business, man. Everybody is in the comfort and dumb motherfuckers and stagnant people business. So you got to realize that the comfort and the stagnant people business model is where we at right now. But it isn't so weird, number 16. Like, this is what's going on in most people's households. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, you got to learn the history of the things that's been going on within this environment, man. These people had no intentions on teaming up with productive dudes. But see, you could become productive at 18 or 19 years old now and be way better and further ahead than most adults within the environment. But you got to realize that you're going to be so outnumbered by failure within the environment that you're going to feel out of place doing the stuff that you need to and supposed to do within the environment. We're not supposed to learn how to grift off street culture better. We're not supposed to be around here learning how to do political ignorance better. We're not supposed to be learning how to sit around expecting reparations better. We're not supposed to be doing any of that stuff. They want you to give up on the power of the individual unless it's going to have a group outcome. These people don't want you being productive within the environment, man. They can't have that because if you become productive within the environment, then you have a level of power that's separate from their control within the environment. That's why a productive man has always been the enemy of people within the environment, both the man and the woman, because production gives you options. They don't want you to have options. They want to be the one with all the options. They just want to restrict you within the environment. Again, there's nothing wrong with the manosphere, man. There's nothing wrong with the manosphere. It's just that people who wanted to sabotage the manosphere, just like they wanted to sabotage and destroy the actual community, it's the same group of people. So you have to realize that. Hold on, can y'all still hear me? Yeah, y'all should still hear me. Yeah, so you have to realize that you can't destroy something like this, man. The only thing you can do is sit back and watch it happen and stay away from it. What's going on? Our business too. Yeah, this is where we are. And every day they're gonna be doing the same thing over and over again. They can't wait to wake up, misjudge, misstate stuff, because they just want to keep putting out nonsense at such a high level that you're never going to be able to contend with them. They want to keep sabotaging and destroying and filling the environment full of all this stuff that we have to clean up after, so that way there'll never be progress. While they have the same people around them, cheering them on while they're doing it, and then they expect everybody's help. Yeah, man, but you got to be able to see it. Sometimes you got to know that this is exactly what's going to happen. Every time they open their mouth, this is what they're doing to the actual environment that they claim they give a damn about. This is why they want illicit money. They don't want an actual standard of which to live and compete like everybody else. And this is what I'm doing to their little community. Stream after stream after stream. Yeah. The only thing you got to do is make sure that you're not cleaning up after this. You don't have to clean up after anybody. You got to learn how to be secure with yourself. This is why they don't want you to have a level of self esteem that doesn't have them being 100% in control of it. Again, they're already telling you that they're not worth saving. They're already telling you about their track record up front. They're already telling you that they're not to be trusted. They're already telling you that they're going to mutiny you out of your own stuff. They're already telling you this. Sometimes, man, you just got to sit back and watch. Sometimes you got to sit back and watch, man, because they need chaos in order to function. You think these people could actually explain on a daily basis the things that they want to actually change within the environment that makes any type of sense? You think they can actually explain it? But this is where we are, man. And guess what? It's going to be the same. What do you think these people are going to teach their children? You think they're going to teach their children that they fail within the environment? going on, Timothy Johnson? This is why I say I don't want you unsubscribing from these people. I want you to see them twerking, how they have the strength to wake up every day and do nothing but just twerk all over the internet. You got to see it. I'm telling you, you got to be able to see it because it's never going to stop. You have to realize this is their life for the rest of all life. They have to do this to live. They have to do this to survive. Why you think they don't want to hear anything from productive people? Because it reminds them of all the time that they wasted twerking on panels, trying to read books to understand something that doesn't need any understanding. Remember, these are the people who came up with all the words. And what was funny is that these maggles was calling other maggles maggles. Like, remember that short time period where they thought that they wasn't the maggle, that they was going to turn to greater maggles and call them maggles rather than the maggles that they were themselves? That was a really good time period, man. That was about 2 or 3 months of them openly calling people hyenas and maggles. I'm like, what's going on? How are maggles calling other maggles maggles? How are hyenas calling other hyenas hyenas? How is this happening? But you got to be able to see it. You got to be able to see it. Because the more you look at it, the less you feel sorry for it. The more you give the solution, the more it's not followed, the more you don't care. That's the way this is. It's this, dude, Biscuit. The only thing they can do is follow what's trending news. Anytime they think there's illicit money being made within the environment, they got to cover it. This is just where we at, man. This is why they always gonna be beefing. The stuff I talk about is true. Oh, let me help you with that, Agon. They're already at the end of the road. The only thing they need is for you to feel sorry about their deliberate circumstances that they keep putting them in and don't help them out of it. Don't help them out of it. Sometimes cranes have a limit to how far they can reach down off a mountain to help somebody up the mountain. Like if you go skiing right now in the backcountry in Colorado and you get your ass trapped out there, hey man, they're not coming to see you till the summertime, man. Ain't nobody going all the way out there trying to look for your ass, man. Sometimes when you leave the reservation, when you know better, you gotta leave them out there. That's why in the military it's called desertion. That's an actual charge. When you walk your ass off post, you end up getting your ass caught, and ain't nobody going to look for you. And then once your ass turn up, all busted up and maybe halfway dead, they charge your ass with desertion. You can't let these people talk about the community. You can't let these dudes talk about that. What community? What community are you talking about? How come we're not talking about things about young boys who've actually grew up in actual household that were productive, trying to help them get scholarships and stuff to be better than what they are? Because that was never part of the plan. The part of the plan was actually based on helping the people who didn't need the help to make sure that the people who could actually take care of the environment never got the help. That's what that sabotage was about. They wanted to overpack these communities full of children that they didn't care about raising to stop the actual children that could have actually made a difference in American society to never get focused on. That's what they did. They did that. And now we have a subculture of men online claiming that they got game celebrating the destruction of the community. And then you got the people who are pro blacks and all the other educated people within the environment. How many PhDs do we have within this environment? How many PhDs is trying to get a study done on very specific things about black men, black boys in specific? Why the hell did you go to school if you're not commissioning any studies about the people that you claim to want to help? So you're a PhD and we ain't commissioning no studies, man? Are you serious? What's going on, Roosevelt? Thanks for the 499 super chat. But you guys have to recognize that this stuff is avoidable. So let's look at all this stuff within the environment. Okay, so the environment is supposed to change, even though these dudes are being socialized into putting up with substandard women. The environment is supposed to change when you leave gang culture in place, street culture in place, pimp culture in place. Yeah, I thought the same thing too. Most of them are just gaslighting black men over LGBT issues and other stupid ass shit like that, and not even acting like a person with education. To be quite honest with you, what's going on, Sir Anthony? They're just out here trying to make documentaries about circumstances that they don't plan on changing. So ask yourself, what documentary changed things for Black America? Ask yourself that. What documentary changed things for Black America? Actually, I think all these people came to the internet because their actual city wasn't hearing that shit that they was talking about within their own city, right? So they all came to the internet to act like something in a collective that they would never be taken seriously about on an individual basis. So you have to understand, if you went out and got a whole bunch of education, what are you supposed to do with that education? I found out when I was a quarter way through my PhD and I went through my first residency what education was about, especially at that level. You want to know what education was about at that level? Being the spokesperson for and ensuring that same level of circumstance would keep reperpetuating itself so that way you can have a job. And once I realized that that was the case, I don't want to be a part of that. I actually wanted to go somewhere with my education. Because you got to have a comparative style thinking when you talk about a community. I just described to you two and three communities, how they operate and work. So you got to realize that this stuff was never supposed to change. It was supposed to just embody the people who actually wanted to stay within the community and be there forever, as long as they was at the top of it. That's how it was, man. I went to that first residency, and I'm like, man, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. It's very clear. Those people did not want to solve any problems. Just like Mensa meetings, same shit. They didn't want to solve any problems. The only thing they wanted to do was be happy about how smart they were, not what they were going to do with the actual information. They didn't want to do that shit. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Yeah, but at this point, I want to weaponize the actual future against these people. I'm very clear about what I want to do here. It's very clear because this stuff is you can set a clock to this type of destruction. And Mike, I just dropped it the second time, man. So you got to understand this that if you really want this progress for people, you got to be able to show that you have some in your own personal life, man. That's it. Not that hard. Yeah, but everybody else listened to hip hop too, but you didn't see them gang banging and doing all this other ridiculous stuff that we were doing. Those people just listen to it and listen to it for what they listen to it for. This is why you're not supposed to be trying to have kids, man. Hey, Mike, what's going on, man?
What's going on, MOT? Oh, can you hear me?
For some reason I can't hear you. Hold on a second. Let me restart my computer. I'll be back.
Can anyone in the chat hear me? Push one.
All right, there we go.
Can you hear me now, MOT?
Can y'all hear Mike? For some reason I can't even hear him.
Are you on your phone, MOT?
What in the world? Why would both of those things be different? Mike, say something now. Oh, okay. Let's wait for him to come back. Yeah, Timothy, but for some reason I couldn't even hear him. Hold on a second, let me drop this link again in the chat. Boom. Yeah, I know I can hear you now because I just heard you come in.
What's going on, MOT?
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, chilling, man. Chilling.
Yeah, it's just that with this community minded talk, it's like we're community minded, but we're not community minded around cryptocurrency. We're not community minded around trying to gain IT skills. We're not community minded around making sure people are born in productive households. Like we're not community minded around all that stuff. We're community minded around all the wrong stuff within society and the environment. I don't understand that.
Yeah, because then that would have to redefine who there has to be some form of organization. An organization leads to leadership, and they don't want us to be in a leadership position. They want to be in a leadership position without actually having to do anything. This is part of the attraction to Donald Trump.
Oh
Grift,
yeah, no doubt.
yeah, grift your way to the White House and then don't govern. They want the ability to run the community without having to govern it.
And it's like being responsible. Like you have people within this environment today still haven't picked up a book about American history and culture, but always want to just operate off this troll to left, troll to left, troll to left type of paradigm. I don't understand it because that requires no intelligence, no research. You could just come out the box, no batteries in, and just be rocking out there, man. It just don't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the sort of society that they want. You're a street conservative, but then you're promiscuous at the same time. I don't get it. These values are always in conflict with each other, and that's why they never really go anywhere in terms of organization. Everybody else is organizing, whether it's rainbow flags or people on the left or center right, center left, all the moderates, all the libertarians. They're all organizing, but when you come to this space, the same guys who talk about black men should work together are the same guys who don't want to organize.
Yeah, and it's like I'm supposed to do all this stuff, and then I'm just supposed to just hand this stuff over. Why would I do that? Like, why on earth would I go through all this stuff and then just hand it off to people who don't even respect the process?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, history is replete with, unproductive people trying to run an environment and it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, if you look at Iraq right now, Iraq was one of the most educated, if not the most educated country within the Middle East. And it only took, a few weeks for the kingdom to fall before you
Yep.
saw the unproductive people trying to run the society and it's back to the Stone Age. And so
Yeah.
this is where we are right now.
Yeah. I mean, you had a lot of the former Ba'ath Party members thinking they were running stuff, even though they was kicked out of the government and had nowhere to go. Those people rose to power within the environment. Violence went off the hook. Why? The only thing they knew how to do was be violent towards people. They didn't know how to build anything. They had all the positions and they didn't earn them. They didn't earn them. It was given to them because of their loyalty to the actual one true leader of the actual place.
Yeah. They want some form of cultural nepotism where their ability to be masculine should be put at the forefront. And I'm like, I don't think that's the criteria right now. I think productivity and the track record is exactly that. And so they want to get rid of all of this stuff so that they don't have to actually compete against it because they're obsolete. There
They
is
are obsolete.
there is no future for street guys. There is no future for thick beards and maggles. There's no future for that. Not in the next 5 or 10 years. After 2025, that's it, bro. Next president comes along. You got 4 years, 3.9 years as of January 20th to really get it all together and organized to do something. If you're not organized at this point, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. What's going on, Pablo Escobar? Fine, man.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Man, MOT,
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
MOT, man, you're known for savaging these game hustlers, man, on every panel. Um, and one of my problems with the whole game culture as it relates to how our culture has become so reprobate is that they never really offered to change uh, the actual environment. Like a game coach can't tell you, I mean, can't change the 64% obesity rate, right? A game coach can't change the 70% out of wedlock birth rate. A game coach can't change the general disruptive and unpleasant attitude of the majority of black women today. Like they can't change that for you. All they I compare what the game hustlers offer to I like to fish, right? But I like to fish in saltwater. And so to go deep sea fishing and catch a marlin or a mahi mahi or some other a flounder or something like that, some other saltwater species of fish is exciting to me. But the game hustler, he offers to take you to a pond to go catfish, and then says, "Well, you caught all of these catfish, you should be happy." And you say, "Well, but I wanted a big game fish. I wanted a marlin. I wanted the mahi mahi. Maybe I wanted to catch a shark." And they say, "Well, you should be happy with the cat. You got it. I got it for you, didn't you? You got laid."
Yeah, I mean, but you're dealing with people who are poison ivy farmers. This is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who has a track record of like cultivating leeches. This is the track record. And it's like there is no culture out there who's trying to get their children street trained on how to deal with uncultured people. There ain't no like a working society and environment kicks those people out. Like over here in Denver, they have like the Chinese man area of Denver where like all the Vietnamese and kind of Chinese kind of stayed at. And the people who are kicked out of communities because they're not over there. They're in other areas of the city trying to hang out with, the quote unquote street guys. And they can't go back over to their own people. Same thing if they're like in like country western bars and stuff like that. You're like, yeah, man, that dude got kicked out of this society, man. Because those people over there winning. And you got to be able to follow some strict guidelines to be a part of a community. And it's like we're letting people who have nothing to bring to a community talk about community. Like, what is this? It's kind of like expecting the best atheist programming in the Vatican. That's not their job. Their job is Catholicism. So if you're expecting something other than Catholicism over in Catholic land at the Vatican, then you're just in the place looking for the wrong thing.
And what you have in the manosphere is insurrection on panels. People trying to storm panels, put all this game talk in there, put all this foolishness in there, and try to take over the panel and basically run us out of the manosphere and run us out of the community as a whole, and then call us cowards for not sticking around, sticking around for this. It's like, What is going on here? So
No, you're not a coward. You're sane. You have your sanity. You have your sanity to know that you can't win in with the only reason you need game and all of that other stuff is because you're dealing with women who aren't feminine and who aren't in their right minds. That's why you need game for manipulation. That's all it is for women who
Yeah,
aren't women, who
yeah,
aren't acting in
yeah.
their
But
role.
why would I want to enter a system that doesn't have an end result? I can see there's no end result for them, and they're 50 or 60 years old. Why would I want to enter it at 40 something? Like, dude, I've been to other cultures that work. It would be stupid as hell as me to go around playing this game with with an open ended result. I mean, we're talking about Super Mario the Lost Levels level of fuckery here, man.
so
Crazy. Yeah, man. Crazy.
Yeah, it's
And,
like
man,
the
right.
mirrors in a funhouse, so totally distorted.
Yeah, I mean, but they are the fun house, man. And it's like the fun house has signs to it. Like you just don't enter the circus and you just end up in the fun house. Nah, man. You gotta show up, pay a ticket, and like walk through that joint. And it's like it's easy to get lost, but it's a fun house as well. And it's like I don't want to take the community back. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just saying they're trying to weaponize the youth against the adults. And while we're trying to educate the youth to take on responsibility, they want to remove responsibility from the youth and superimpose it onto some nebulous government entity because that's what they did with their life.
because they're trying to create child soldiers.
Yeah.
Give them an AK-47 AKA game and they'll be all right, man. They'll defend their position.
Yeah, man. You have one of these lost children coming around, dynamite out the chest. You know what I'm saying? Looking at the chest, it's all counting down. I'm like, get this thing away from me.
Yeah.
No, man. No, man. No, man. I could just hang out for 30 more seconds. I'm like, bro, it says 25 on your vest, bro. You got to go. You really got to get out of here, man. That's where we at, man. Yeah, man. What they're doing is they're raising Suicide Squad members, man. And they're trying to send them over to us like, don't you care about the kids? I'm like, yeah, actual children, but like baby piranhas are dangerous, man. They
Yeah,
are.
because they're trying to create their own little UNICEF and use it as a front
Yeah.
for a bigger agenda.
They're trying to get their Hamas on, man. Like, nah, man, nah, man. It's like, bro, your name is Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
We know what you are about. You got a very good track record of destruction. I mean, like, look, if you need a demolition company, hey, go into that business. But they want to be the guys who actually want to build stuff, and it's like, nah, man, like we can't have that. And it's like, why don't we go around lighting as many fires as possible so that way they can't put them out? I'm like, yeah, but we control the fire department,
What about
so you
BLM?
can light. Yeah, and so it's like, okay, BLM or street culture. Who has done more to Black America? Seriously, what? What? And it's like, this is where we are because they decided to commit cultural genocide. I call it masculinicide. They wanted to erase productive black men out of Black America so that way their masculinity can be what runs the actual environment. That's what they did.
Well, now they're trying to use Jack Johnson. Jack
Oh my
Johnson was
God.
an educated black man, and he used to whoop everybody's ass. All right, man. That's the way you want to live your life.
How long ago was that? Oh man. And it's like, this is where we are because here's the thing that they don't get.
Mhm.
The reason why they're so ravenous is because they know themselves that this stuff is over. It's over. They don't need game guys anymore. That's why they're online. If these dudes had a level of winning within their own environment, do you think they would go online doing this? This is crazy. And it's like you have other older individuals in the environment who say nothing. It's up to the people in our 30s and 40s to say something is wrong here. Like you don't see Chinese people online trying to get the lost women of China off on other men within the environment. You don't see that. If you're not off the market at 25, tough. You're never getting off the market. That's where it is.
Because the man is, I mean, if we're going to be political in this space, the manosphere needs some form of track record committee, man. Somebody who can actually, a panel of people who can actually, engage in the discourse and actually determine whether or not that this has the trajectory of the manosphere is going in the right direction. That's what a committee does. And so these guys don't want any sort of process or political architecture or infrastructure in place, at least not in the realm that it should be. They want it to be, they want the community or the environment to remain the way that it is because that's beneficial to them. The Book of Eli, those guys, under the bridge with chainsaws and tire irons and all that stuff, waiting, waiting for the brother to come under the bridge, man. They couldn't wait for that, man. Put down the
Yeah,
bat or die. You put your hands on me one more time, man. I'm gonna cut your hand off, man. That's the sort of
yeah,
situation
man.
we're in.
Yeah, man. We like Moses who just came up from the mountain with the good news on the tablets, and these people have melted down all the gold and turned it into a cow. Like, what's going on, man? What's going on? Like, how can you work with these people? How can you work with them? Like, okay, what does that look like? You're gonna go and work with people who are not even socialized to respect you.
Mhm.
All right, man. All right, man. It just doesn't make any sense. And we need to let people know out there that we know this stuff is happening everywhere within the space.
No,
Everybody's trying to find a way to make money off of this woman in her condition. That's not masculine to do that, man. It ain't.
no, in Africa, and I bring this up a lot because I was over there this time last year. The unproductive men are on the outskirts of society. They live where there's no electricity, there's no running water, there's no infrastructure out there at all. The productive people live amongst each other. That's it. That's the way they run their society over there. Over here, it's different. We always have to have this sort of inclusive sort of nature where, oh, well, we got, in order for you to have a black community, you got to bring all the effery along with it. Like, no, we don't have to do that. Why do we have to do that in the first place?
Yeah, man. Win
Well, they
versus
don't
one,
they
man.
don't want to leave out. Yeah, they don't want to leave
Go
out
ahead.
cousin Ray Ray, cousin Pookie. They feel they got to drag him along with them. It hurts.
Yeah, but yeah, and they want you to pay for it though, Pablo. They want you to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it makes sense. It doesn't. It makes no
No,
sense.
I completely understand. I'm just saying they want Pablo to pay for it. You got enough money to travel? Why don't you get him a job, driving trucks or something, for Amazon or something like that? Why can't you do that? And if you don't do it, you're not really pro-black.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Because they're a virus. They're interested in spreading to as many people as possible, man.
Mhm.
And they want to win out everybody else within the environment without any work. And that's what the problem is. And it's a problem because they have so many kids, and they've kind of papered over the environment, so that way these kids don't even see productive men until they end up ruining their lives
Mhm.
to the point to where
and
they
how
can't
many
recover it.
times? Yeah, and to that question, how many times have one of us stuck our neck out for one of these people only to get burned? Let me give you an example. I was a supervisor in city government, and we were doing a move, and we hired a moving company to do this move. We were moving into a new building, and one of the guys who was one of the supervisors of the moving company, he was very diligent. He was very hardworking guy, um, um, and I was looking for a new employee for the department that I worked in. They had given me the ability to hire my own staff, my people. So I was so impressed by his work ethic, even though he didn't have any particular experience, I decided to give him a shot. And I did. And he came to the interview. He interviewed well. And, I told my director, I said, this is the guy that I want. And I said, because I want to, and I passed over another guy who had experience because I wanted to train him in the way that I wanted to do things rather than take somebody who had done the work in another city and him bring the bad habits, right? So I said, I want that guy. He said, okay, we'll give him to you. So I told him ahead of time, can you pass a drug test? He said, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, okay,
Oh man.
okay. And this was a month before the actual drug test happened. So he had time to get himself clean.
Yeah, but Pablo, why couldn't you urinate in the cup and pass it for him? What's wrong
Yeah,
with you?
man. Yeah, man.
What's wrong with you, man?
Making these dudes do all kinds of work and stuff, Pablo. How dare you?
And it would have been the kind of job that would have changed his trajectory in life from working at the moving company. And he couldn't show up clean after 30 days, almost a month notice. You
What's
know,
going on, Godzilla Beast?
Come on, Judge.
I think Judge is getting himself together.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what they want. Now, you put some volume on your mic, Judge?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was checking. I was checking the motel woman's fundraiser. $145,000.
Your mic is breaking up, Judge.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, $145 to leave 3 kids in a motel room.
What?
$140,000 to leave 3 kids in a motel room and get arrested.
Well, I'm not familiar with what's going on. You want to give a synopsis?
This is a young black woman who worked at Little Caesars who left her children unsupervised in a motel room while she worked her shift. Out of concern, the father called the appropriate authorities. She got $145,000 now on a GoFundMe for that.
Wow.
But
wow.
the point I came up here to say is, can't you guys just stay in your lane and let them stay in their lane? Like MOT, you have your lane of being a business owner, running logistics. Mike, you have IT and business administration. Pablo, you have business administration and business ownership. That's what you guys do, and that you guys do well. So you guys do that because that's what you guys do well, and just let them do the fuck shit. And that you guys can have a well-rounded organization. Sense to me, right? I mean, on paper, it seems like it'd make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well, the only problem is, Judge, that it's a single lane highway. There's a breakdown lane. There's a breakdown lane with the rumble strip.
Yeah.
That breakdown lane runs out of lane pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That runaway truck line is only a certain distance. You're really right on that.
Guardrails are all bent up and scraped up for a reason, man.
Yeah. It's just it's just like the rumble strips through like Missouri with all these accidents on it because they decided to do the roads, but not the rumble strips. So whenever your vehicle leaves the road for any reason, you end up tumbling into the side of the road or into the actual coming lane of traffic because the same actual plow trucks that plow the actual roads couldn't be used to actually plow the actual rumble strips on the road. Because they ain't got enough time, because they want to hire all these people part-time for like $15 an hour. It's like, dude, you're not going to get nobody to lead a full-time CDL job to come out there and clean up snow 2 or 3 times a year. It's like, yeah, that's what it is, man.
Yeah. I came to another epiphany. Oh, well, I'm not going to do that. I was going to something. This is a place for that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
nonetheless,
yeah. Your mic keep breaking up, man. Your mic keep breaking up for some reason.
does it keep up? Okay. But, I've been having a little bit of internet issues here lately, so I don't know what's going on. And I'm directly
Okay.
plugged. This is my computer, so I'm directly plugged. This isn't Wi-Fi situation. I don't know what it is. Um, but yeah, no, you guys are on. You guys are on point. I mean, this situation, we've said it before. We can't exist in a. We know that you can't build it and they will come. It's a in the Kevin Costner film, Field of Dreams, right? That's what they want. Well, if you build it, we'll come. But the problem is, if you build it, we don't want you.
No, it's worse than that, Judge. If you rebuild it, we'll still destroy it.
Yes.
Yes,
At,
that's what it is.
at any park that you, at any basketball court that you see in an inner city. Like, have you seen the most recent advertised one where they come in and they do all the they have this design it with all these isometric designs and everything else, and they put up fancy new backboards and the fancy new supports and the fancy new rims, and then you go back 3 months later.
Yeah, like Wolverine can't even get a tune up because they're using all this adamantium on these backboards, man. Like 200-foot goals and stuff, man. Like who's gonna be playing ball out there, man? What's going on, man?
Well, I have this composite. I know can it's supposed to be it's theoretically virtually indestructible. I know how we did.
Yeah, you have it. Yeah, man, your stuff's breaking up really bad, Judge. I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh man,
But
sorry about that.
but
Yeah, sorry about that.
yeah, but it's like Mike. It's like this. You have to be forceful about kicking these people out. You have to be also forceful about making sure these people are not representing black people. You have to be forceful that we're not with these people and they're not with us. And they already have their values and we don't share the same value system. Like like a lot of people love to see this type of reprobate stuff go on within the environment because they feel a part of it because things are not being followed and all these people happen to be conservative but nobody's trying to clean up the environment. Everybody got all these core values and all this stuff over on that side but nobody's exercising any of that stuff. Like it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Yeah, stay there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, yeah, it's just that where we're at now at this point in time, it's time to expand the concept because we have to split this thing kind of in half. Because the people who are over there on that other side, they can't be allowed to kind of monkey branch in between two types of cultures. They can't do that. And it's like, we got to find a way of making sure that these people don't retire and get off the field. Because we can't have these people moving this stuff from one area to another. And it's like everybody want to do everything but not focus on the results for some reason.
You know what was disturbing to me, MOT, over this last particular week? Uh, the Sierra and Russell Wilson thing kind of began to rear its head again, but none of the
Why?
regular, ordinary stuff that they talk about is what bothered me. What bothered me was if you listen to a lot of the some of the guys, some of the men in this space, you would listen to them. You would think Future was the better man.
No, they want the responsibilities of future and they want everybody else to be productive to be actually Russell Wilson. That's what they want.
And what I mean is, Russell Wilson is more physically fit than Future. Russell Wilson is smarter than Future. He's a college educated man. Russell Wilson is wealthier than Future. Russell Wilson is more accomplished at what he does just about than Future is at what he does. So, baby mama and all that aside, if you listen to the way they talk about Future, you would think Future was the better man and not Russell Wilson.
We don't even know what this guy's name is, but his name's Future. Future of what? Future of what? All right. So it's like this. They don't understand that you cannot compare Russell Wilson and Sierra's situation to any situation in Black America. You can't.
No, you
It's
can't.
two
They're
people with
exceptional.
money.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
exceptional.
yeah. So it's like, okay, you have a woman with money and kids, and then you have a man with money and kids. That's way different than people who can barely survive with money and kids. But they want to try to live vicariously through those type of people and try to play that paradigm. Because every person was talking about kind of leveling up and stupid stuff like that. So it's like they don't understand that a community has minimum standards of financial backing. So those people got together because of financial backing, not social backing, financial backing. So
Correct.
so it's like so so it's like when you when you have people talk about things without the actual financial backing and understand how status works within the society and environment, those are the things that actually happen. And Jamal is right. Deeply, they do resent Russell Wilson because at the end of the day, the guy is good at what he does, and he can have whatever he wants to. But that's what he decided to close on. And here's the thing: he could have closed on somebody else within the environment, but you know how you gonna be able to scale that? It's kind of like scaling street shit or scaling game. You can't scale any of that stuff within the environment. So they go to these, if, so they major in these things that you can't scale, and then they get mad as hell when everybody surpassed them in every other thing within the environment. And it's like, but you majored in game.
And like I said before, MOT, it's a 70% out of wedlock birth rate anyway, even if even amongst the celebrity class. So where is he gonna go?
Yeah,
Where is he gonna go? There's
that's why I never
well,
understood.
he could have chose something else. Well, who? When that's the dominant uh, uh, situation in the environment. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, this is why I say, you know, game doesn't solve uh, the condition of the women. It doesn't.
No, I don't even care about the condition of any of that stuff. Let's try to keep it back on the community minded thing. Judge, what's going on, man? You there?
Is this better? Am I clearer now?
You are clearer now for all the words that you just said.
Okay. Well, let's this works out. I may have to get a headset. I'm not what the problem is.
All right.
But with that community mind is again that cleanup man mentality. I mean, it's ingrained. Yet at the same time, there's the and what we've also said many times. What is value to the cleanup man? How how is the cleanup man actually compensated? Cleanup men or cleanup men minded actually compensated in a meaningful degree more so than people that they're cleaning up after. Why? What CEO cleans the toilets? That's what I'm trying. That's trying to understand.
Well, but that's the deal, Judge. Like after you close on the building, you as the bank are supposed to be the janitorial staff for the building that those people are never going to make a payment on. And it's such a good deal that it only works in a one-sided kind of format. That's the way it is.
You know, I would say I, as a CEO, my own company, should never be unwilling to do any job available to make my business grow. So I shouldn't be unwilling to clean said toilets. Yet, I should also expect that same approach from the employee that I hire or that I bring. Does that make sense? Although we'll hire others to actually do said cleaning, it should never be beneath me or the partners that I bring in.
Yeah, yeah, but they're the real socialists and communists within the environment. They don't want to work, but they want equal outcomes.
Right.
They
Exactly.
want to live off of everybody else. Like they are every bit the socialists and communists that they claim everybody else is. And it's like the only thing you got to do is pick up a book to notice that most of this stuff is not true. But to protect their point of view from being disturbed by reality, they never even bother to go learn about anything because they're just at the top of everything without nobody even helping.
Now, it's one of the favorite things. I'm sure it's happened to all three of you as well. I know in your life, somebody, family member specifically, is has come up to you with a reference this way. Well, I'm so good at saving money. I know you can help me out.
Yeah, I mean, like most of these people are nothing but just redistribution people, and they're not going to add anything of value. So
Right.
what we need to do is socialize people into leaving this class, social class of people the hell alone. They can't survive without the resources of other people, and just because their numbers are quite high doesn't mean that you actually have to help them out with anything. You got to be able to work with equals through minimum standards. Your life mission should be the actual overall goal to which you want to hand down or team up with people with. It shouldn't be that hard, but for some reason, you're dealing with most of these people and you really can't do anything about that. So let me be able to get up out of here.
Yeah.
You got any last words, Pablo, before we get up out of here, man?
Yeah. Hey, MOT, did you hear Obsidian's show last night?
No, I don't listen to Obsidian.
Well, he had a guy on last night that is a perfect example of what your show topic is tonight. I mean, he was Captain Save a Hole from way back, and he was
Oh,
trying
man.
to save the community. It was
Uh,
it would have been perfect for your show tonight to play some of it. But yeah,
no. I mean, but the thing is that broke niggas are trying to save the community.
yeah, and
People who got their shit together ain't trying to save no community that they didn't have any hands of. And that's the other thing. Everybody got all this information to go around about this community savior shit, but these people have not produced within their own right. So it's like the poorer you are, the more that you care, and the more that you can't contribute. The more you get your shit together, the more you're not gonna get the shit away. So make it make sense to me.
facts, facts, no doubt.
Yeah. So no, I didn't because even though I like Obsidian, that conversation it can get very addicting to listen to. I'm not in that class of needing that type of help, but I do understand what he's doing. And you would always get all these people who come on who claim they care. You care about the community, but you don't want to lay down minimum standards. I don't know. Make it make sense to me. All right, man. Judge, you got any last words before we get up out here?
Yeah. When you close down the YouTube, stay on real quick so we'll talk to each other later. But for those of you who aren't familiar, read the story in the grasshopper. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. As I said, there's a very limited amount of time you work with, and MOT always is your track record, your track record, your track record. There's going to be a credit check. If you don't qualify, you're not qualified. Be the
Yeah, I
answer.
mean, yeah, I mean, they did this stuff during like the last economic crash where they was running credit checks on people before they gave them jobs, and if your credit wasn't up to snuff, man, you didn't get hired. They didn't care. So, all right, man. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Um, I changed the actual title of the actual show to the let's see what we got here. The community-minded pearl necklace cleanup crew. I don't want you joining this crew. Those people have actually made this stuff very easy to actually leave this stuff alone. And the male twerkers within the black space of YouTube is just a microcosm of what's actually going on within the black environment of YouTube. And that's all I got on that, man. I want to thank you guys for coming through, and you guys have a really nice night. Peace. Uh, 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 and broadcast.